Hello and welcome, my name is Ajaxpost and we're looking today at the second of the development highlights videos from Urban Games and Good Shepherd for Transport Fever 2, and we're looking at some of the features they've added to the infrastructure, as they call it. Now, I'm going to stop the video right there. But before I say anything about what we're looking at, I'll just mention, of course, just like the previous highlights video, I've taken off, I've muted Tom's commentary, so if you want to hear Tom, the community manager from Urban Games, talking you through the video, then I put the link to the original in the description for this video below. But I'm just going to sort of react and comment on what he's showing us, and just give us my perspective on it. A couple of things here you may have just noticed as we were watching this little bit part of the video, the introduction to it, and some of you who saw my very first video on the announcement trailer for Transport Fever 2 will recall there was a moment in that where I said something like, "Oh my god, the clock is moving." And it was here too. You may have just noticed it, and we'll see it at the end of this video in fact as well. The clocks on the stations move. It's a stupid, trivial little thing, but it's just that one of those extra little added bonuses, the extra highlights that they've added. I'm using all the wrong words here. When I saw this video to start with, I was just grinning ear to ear. There's so much good stuff that they're offering us in this highlight video for the game. And simple little things like that just make the whole thing that much more engaging. The other thing I'll notice here as well is you'll notice the pedestrians. There appears to be a nice mix of pedestrian clothing and styles, a different mix of personalities running around the towns that we have in the game. And they don't appear to be all looking up in the sky like they were in Transport Fever. Interesting thing is, looking over here on the far right hand side, that little group of people there, it almost looks as if they're talking to each other. I dare say they're not, but they do appear to be more intelligently animated as they make their way across the city. But anyway, let's get on with what Tom's telling us about in this particular video for Transport Fever 2, which is coming out, of course, in Q4 of this year, 2019. And one of the great things which they're showing off in this, which we saw highlighted in, and I'm going to stop here just for a second, which we saw hinted at in the announcement video, was modular stations. And he's taking some time to talk us through this. Now, this is a first clue to what we're seeing here. As you'll see this, junctions, switches, whatever you call them in real railway parlance, I'm no expert. Yes, we can have intersections, junctions and switches within the station area itself. That makes so much more exciting options available to us. And just look at this as we're running in on the right hand side. What does that look like to you? We'll see it in more detail in a moment, but that looks like a multi-platform arrangement. So we've actually got different styles of platforms here. We've got terminating lines within a station. This is what so many of our wish lists from the first game have been included in this. This is what they're calling a blueprint station, so straight off the toolbar. Now this is what they're talking about in the initial announcement video, modular stations. Now we should say here at this point, this is not final software. There's a little logo, this little wording at the side, little phrase at the bottom of the video there saying not final. So it could all change, of course, in the upcoming months as they sort of test and develop and see how the game actually performs in real terms. So this is what they're looking at. This is the sort of thing we can do. We can put down a blueprint station and we can then build upon it, or as Tom was saying, we can actually build our own station from scratch, adding in extra tracks as we want them, adding extra platforms as we want them. We can create beautiful looking stations here. We can add pass-through tracks directly into our station. We've got sort of connection points here, it looks like, where we're putting all sorts of bits and pieces into our station design. And we can switch as an edit mode between sort of pass-through stations and terminals. We can add and remove buildings from the terminal, from the station as we create it. And this is one of the most exciting things hinted at in the announcement video. Cargo and passengers, freight and passengers in the same station. And does that look to you like a truck stop? It does, doesn't it? So it looks as if the modular they were talking about was not simply building a station bit by bit, as we're seeing here, but actually composing, yeah, that'll be a word I'll use, creating a station from different parts of the infrastructure. So we can have cargo and passengers at the station. We can build truck and train stations. And he's also saying here at this point, this also applies to trams, to docks and to airports. We're all used to this in Transport Fever. Very busy intersections in our towns, which are usually clogged up at some point in the later game with just too much traffic. And here we can put in traffic signals. Now, Tom is saying here, this obviously works best in high volume areas, but the game is actually aware of vehicles passing through. So it works in either high or low volume. So you could have them in the middle of the country, if you want, country roads if you wanted to. Bus lanes here. Now, I don't know if it's whether it's simply a bus lane or not, or whether there's an extra sort of option you tick when you're putting in your traffic lights and laying down your roads, but the bus here, as you can see, has priority. So if you have got very busy town centres, you can make sure that your buses, your vehicles, I assume this probably also applies to trucks as well, to cargo by road, is they will have priority over the AI, the private passenger traffic. Now you notice here, I'll just stop here briefly again, I'm pointing at the screen, you can't see me pointing, but you can see the people waiting on the pavement. So you're not getting your vehicles or the AI vehicles sort of congested because there's just so much people traffic just walking around. Pedestrian traffic, that would be a good word for it, wouldn't it? Because you can actually arrange your pedestrian and your vehicular traffic to work to provide the best environment for everybody in your cities. This is looking fabulous. We're used to this. How would you replace this in reality? You'd lay down a roundabout. Again, Tom is telling us here we have the option to put in a roundabout straight from the toolbar, from a blueprint, or you can build it yourself, a modular roundabout. And this is one-way streets. And what he's showing us here is you can upgrade any street to be one way. It's simply an upgrade option. And you can change it from one way to dual way, two ways. You can create streets almost to your heart's content, to design the road layout as you want it. Obviously, one-way streets, a lot of people picked this up in the announcement trailer, work best on highways. What does this look like to you? This looks like the most awesome highway, motorway, what do they call them in Germany? Autobahns. The most amazing Autobahn highway, motorway network intersection. Ramps, he was suggesting, are available from the blueprints as well, so they're part of the road building toolkit. But again, you can design them yourself. You can create your own peculiar, and I dare say when I get to play with the game, some of my intersections will be very peculiar indeed. But the possibilities here are almost endless, and it just gives you that much more flexibility to create a realistic environment for your vehicles, for your transport infrastructure. Now, there are a couple of odd things which are not mentioned in the video, which are they going to be part of the final release or not, or is it just they haven't quite finished off the development of these tools yet? One thing I noticed after I picked my jaw up off the floor and put my smile back on was curved stations. We're not seeing curved stations in this highlights video. I can't imagine that we will get station building tools which don't allow us to curve our stations. Now, if they're as modular as they're suggesting there, then we should be able to curve our stations in any shapes we want. A lot of modders created some awesome sort of custom stations for us, which had all sorts of intersections and curvatures and angles within the station itself. We didn't see that in the highlight video from the team today, but I'm hoping they couldn't possibly. They've been so positive in reacting to the player feedback. I can't imagine they would have left those options out of the game. So what have we got? I will put up a highlights list at the end of the video in a few moments of all the things we've seen in here, which are just wonderful, great tick box elements. They've ticked off so many of our wishes from the first game. This really does look like a step change up from Transport Fever, so much more than I believe we actually saw from Train Fever to Transport Fever. This looks incredible. So that's it. We've seen the World Builder editor, we've seen the highlights of the infrastructure building in the second video. What more is there to come? We've still got a good few months to go before we see the actual game released to us in Q4, as it says here, in 2019. So I will put up a hit list of all the things we've seen so far in this video. Thank you very much for your company, for watching this today. If you've enjoyed this, it'd be wonderful if you just click that little tick box. It's not a tick box, it's a thumbs up. A little like, that'd be wonderful. If you've any thoughts, suggestions, recommend any comments to make about this, it'd be great to hear from you. Just drop a note into the comments box below. And of course, if you want to keep up with me, keeping up with Transport Fever 2, then please do subscribe to the channel, and that way you'll know when I upload another one of these. Probably another one in about a month's time. That seems to be the sequence they're running at the moment, or indeed any of my other Let's Play or tutorial videos that I've uploaded to the channel. So from me, Ajaxpost, I can't even get my name right, I'm just too excited. From me, Ajaxpost, until the next time, I'll see you again soon. Bye bye for now.